Hey guys, PPT here. So over the weekends, we were seeing a lot of headlines regarding the Iran and Israel war. And, of course, this is not a good thing to really talk about, right? I'm not here to talk about who is right, who is wrong. I'm here to talk about what stocks we could potentially be looking at that could get a sector pump because of this conflict. That's what this channel is for. War is not a good thing, right? I'm not gonna be over here debating who's right or wrong. I do think that, it's just gonna affect the livelihood of a lot of people's in the countries involved. So regardless of the case, life still goes on for us. Alright, we still have to survive, we still have to pay rent, we still have to live on, we still have to pay for food, we still gotta survive. Right, so with that being said, let's kind of go through the couple of tickers that I think could be good potential watch for next week. And without further ado, let's begin. The first ticker we're going to be talking about is INDO, Indonesia Energy Corporation, right? INDO, that's the first ticker we're going to be talking about. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, for context, right? Back earlier last year, when there was the Russian and Ukraine war, oil was going up crazy, right? And we've got like a huge pump on this ticker over here that caused this to go from $2 to $86. So with the Iran and Israel war happening, right, we could start to see a surge of prices in oil as well. Same thing, right? This is what happens when war happens. And we could potentially see all these plus runners over here start to get some traction into the market again to get more push for us. So let's talk technicals right now. For this, right over here, last week's Friday's action was pretty insane, right? We got a nice little move from 312 all the way to 595. I did give entries for Friday over here at 450s, 460s, and I was telling the guys to look for a move to at least $5 or more, which we got. The EOD close was pretty weak, I would say. Didn't really show too much of anything happening, right? More so sitting at a consolidation phase happening here. But because again, over the weekends, the Iran and Israel headlines becomes a lot stronger, and if this war were to continue persisting, we could see a lot of bigger traction coming on right over here. Now, the daily chart doesn't really tell me a lot of stuff, right? It's insane. What I do know about this is that, this is the first time in the 52 weeks that we've actually seen the price, breaking over the 200 EMA with such conviction. So 590 is our weekly 200 EMA, which is exactly where the price rejected on Friday, as you guys can see right over here. This is exactly where the price rejected right over here. So in this sense, we do have a key pivot point to be looking out at. So long as price were to stay above 590, and if the Israel and Iran conflict continues to become more aggressive, then I think we can see a bigger move to the upside to potentially rooms to $9 or maybe even $10. But the first big pivot is going to be 594. Alright, so the next ticker we're going to be talking about is going to be TPAD. So TPAD is one of the biggest runner for all theme tickers for Friday. You can see that TPAD made the biggest percentage move for the day. Now, it did not close strong, but because of the current headlines again, it's getting a lot of traction for the Iran and Israel conflict, right? We may start to see this get more traction throughout the week. Now, looking on the daily time frame, okay, we are, again, the 200 EMA has always been a key pivot point on the daily time frame for tickers. And you can see how price is rejecting this 1, 2, 3 times, and also another one right over here, which is on Friday 4 times, right? So generally for me, I want to see a volume breakout over 53 cents, 54 cents to go again, so that we can see, there's a lot of range and upsides right over here, right? But 75 cents is a big level for us to clear before we can have any move to 90 plus and even $1. If not, right, I want to see at least a pullback to the 30-minute 50 EMA trend line, which is roughly around 38 cents right now, but this is what I'll be watching for pullbacks for now. Okay, that's also of course given if all tickers ramp up for the week. Alright, there's a chance that it may not, but we're only working with information that we have. We can't be working with information that we don't have unless you guys can, travel to the future. Alright, the next one we're going to be talking about is INTP. Now this one's really interesting because back then during the Ukraine and Russia war, INTP and INDO were basically the leaders of the oil tickers. As you guys can see, this thing went from 53 cents to 9.70. The key thing about this is that INTP hasn't really been seeing that volume that we want to see In terms of volume, right, as of right now, the second run for all tickers, we're seeing more on TPET and INDO. Right, but INPP is not really getting the volume that it deserves. So that's why we're not seeing a huge range of movements that this ticker can do. Now, this ticker has every given potential to make moves again. And the fact that this ticker hasn't really made the move yet, we may see some volume rotation out from INDO, out from TPET into INPP. So let's take a look at some levels right over here. So because there's not a whole lot of work for us to kind of look at this for right now, right? This ticker is trying to base on the previous highs being created over here on the daily chart for INPP, which is around 360. If you guys watch this over here, we also have a gap to fill over 390. Now, this is all very situational, but if we can have volume coming in over here and fill up the gap, I think we can see 52 weeks high if volume for all team persists. And of course, we can start to see a much bigger move to the upside, right? Especially once we clear $5. It all depends on how the all team ramps up for next week. So far, I've covered 3 all tickers, right? INDO, TPET, and also INPP, right? And all these are your past generation, your current generation runners that are performing really, really well in terms of volume. They're all part of the team. The next one I'm going to be talking about is VROG. Now, this one over here is a little bit of an interesting one because it's a pretty heavy float, but this is also one of the tickers that made a crazy move from 278 to 666 in just one day, right? So this tells me this ticker has quite a bit of traction. So currently right now we are forming a descending triangle pattern. So what I want to see on this is a hole over here at 135, 130, and I want to see a clean volume breakout over 160 over here for me to start getting interested in this. This is not the biggest volume ticker that we have, but if all really starts to run, then all these tickers over here should start to proceed popping it one by one. There have been a couple of special mentions that have been running since last year's oil run, and they are HUSA, HUSA, and also USEC, right? These two are really low flow. This is moving really well. Now, in terms of price action and volume, I do prefer HUSA a little bit more. So let's take a look at this ticker right up here. On Friday, this thing made a move from 174 to 257. Now, it's not really that surprising because every single all team tickers was running, right? TPET run a little bit more than INDO. INDO run a little bit more than HUSA, but the general trend for them is going up. For HUSA, if we look at this on the daily chart, we are breaking past above the weekly 200 EMA. So every single oil team ticker seems to have this sector shift to the upside where, you know, everything is just kind of moving up right now. The fact that this thing is able to kind of break over this 185 level on the daily chart, where it's been struggling on the 200 EMA for the past year, right, tells me a lot about the current sector and sentiment for the oil tickers. Now, I would love to see a pullback to at least 187, but if that really doesn't happen, there is a potential ABCD setup right over here. If this is our current support level right here, that we could break through VWAP and actually go up more, right? So our current support level that we can see is $2, right? And then we'll see whether we can get some volume in over here, push it up, and go along with the oil hype. All right, we gotta again make sure or check, how the all tickers perform for next week, right? So it's very hard to assume for anything right now, but at least you guys have a plan so that you guys have something working out over here. So there's one more ticker I want to talk about. I think I wanted to talk about HNRA, but I generally don't see this ticker. I mean, it could do something, but I just do not like the close for this, especially when it make new lows. Like what is this? It's not normal, right? This is not good price action over here. I would keep this on my watch list, but I probably would not put too much attention over here. So now there's one more ticker I want to talk about. It's PRZO. Now this over here is an Israel ticker, right? If you guys go over to Finviz, you guys can check that this is an Israel ticker that has a really small float. It has a really small float, 7 million, and also a really small market cap. And this is doing aerospace and defense. Now with the war on Iran happening right now, right, we could see a momentum shift on this ticker as well. Now this is not all, right? It's not about all, it's not about commodities, but this is more so directly related to the theme that could potentially blow up the market, right? So it's good to kind of cover a couple of themes so that you guys know that if oil isn't really running, you guys can still put attention on PRZO or rather defense tickers. Now let's look at this ticker right over here, right? This ticker, has been dropping a lot of news for the couple weeks and stuff, and they generally make very nice moves, right? So over here you can see that this ticker made a move from 64 cents to 283, came back down, retested to 50 EMA, and bounced from 158 to 344. So generally when this ticker make moves, right, it does make quite a substantial move. And even more so, the potential this thing has if it is also driven by macro conditions like the conflict, right, we could see a much bigger push to the upside. So for me, we do have a daily gap over here at $1, closing out all the way down underneath 70 cents. The fact that this ticker, reclaim a dollar level says a lot about the strength this ticker has. Now we do have the daily 200 EMA at 135, which is going to be a key pivot point for us to see a much bigger move to the upside. But I would love to see at least a pullback to the 90s or even a dollar test before pushing back up right over here. And especially with this news over here, we could see a much bigger move to the upside as well. With the theme that could propel this more to the upside, I think we could see a much bigger move on this if the Israel and Iran conflict becomes aggravated. Okay? Right, so again, that's pretty much all I have for today. I'm going to be doing a live trading session with my team tomorrow inside the private Discord. If you guys want to have access to it, check the link at the bottom, and you guys can I'll see you guys there. All right, if not, enjoy the rest of your weekends, and peace.